Okay, so you know how everyone's talking about this whole ethical email scraping thing?
Yeah.
Well, you sent us over this guide,
Uh,
The Ultimate Guide to Ethical Email Scraping. Best Practices for Collection and Verification 2025
okay.
by Robert Wilson at Rebrowser.
Right.
It's pretty new, just came out a couple months ago.
Yeah, it's a really good resource if you're looking to understand,
Yeah.
how to collect email addresses
Right.
ethically and legally these days, which is a big deal, obviously.
Huge.
Like, it's something everybody needs to be aware of,
Yeah, especially now
especially now.
with privacy and all that.
Exactly.
So basically, in this deep dive, we want to break it all down for you.
Yeah.
So you don't have to read the whole thing,
Yeah, go through all the details.
Yeah. So we're going to look at how to balance automation and privacy. We'll get into the technical stuff.
Yep.
And then why verifying those emails is so important.
Super important.
And then all the legal stuff like GDPR, CCPA, all that.
Yeah, the legal landscape can be a bit of a maze.
Total maze.
But this guy does a good job of kind of
Yeah.
highlighting the key things you need to know.
Totally. So maybe we should start with the big picture first.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to start.
How has this whole data collection thing changed?
Well, I mean, it's changed a lot, right?
Yeah.
I feel like even just in the last few years,
Oh, yeah.
there's been this huge shift towards stricter privacy regulations,
Yeah.
like globally, you know?
For sure.
And people are way more aware now
Yeah.
of how their data is being used.
The internet's not just this Wild West anymore.
It's not the Wild West anymore, right?
Yeah.
Like, there are rules now.
Yeah, but the guide's saying that
Yeah.
it's still really valuable for businesses
Oh, absolutely.
to collect emails
Yeah.
ethically.
It's not about
Yeah.
ignoring the rules. It's about, like,
Right, being smart about it.
being smart about it, being responsible.
Yeah.
So let's talk about those rules.
Okay, so the legal stuff.
The legal stuff, the fun part.
Right, the maze.
Yeah, so the guide highlights
Yeah.
a few key regulations.
Right.
GDPR, CCPA e-privacy directive.
Okay, hold on, slow down.
Okay,
So
all right.
GDPR first,
Right, GDPR,
which is...
that's from the European Union.
Right,
And the big thing there
yeah,
is explicit consent.
right. So people have to...
Have to actively agree
Okay.
to you collecting their data.
So it can't be
Right,
they're automatically opted in.
exactly. It has to be like a very clear yes.
Gotcha.
And then you've got CCPA.
Which is...
That's California.
Okay.
Yeah,
So U.S.
Right, U.S. specific.
And what's the main thing with that one?
So CCPA is a little different,
Okay.
but it's still all about giving people control
Okay.
over their personal information
Gotcha.
and making sure businesses are transparent.
Right. Being upfront about it.
Exactly. Upfront about their data practices.
Yeah.
And then there's the e-privacy directive.
Okay, what's that one?
So that one's interesting.
Okay.
It's got some new rules coming in 2024.
Oh, so it's brand new.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
And those rules specifically affect
Okay.
electronic communication.
So email.
Exactly like email.
Gotcha.
And then beyond these big ones,
Yeah.
there are tons of other data protection laws.
Right. All over the place.
Yeah, all over the world.
So one size fits all is
Yeah, that's not going to work.
not going to work.
Not going to work.
Okay. So how do we stay on the right side of the law?
So the guide talks about some key compliance requirements.
Okay.
And the first one, as we said with GDPR, is consent,
Right.
but it has to be explicit.
Yeah.
So you need clear opt-in methods.
Like those little boxes you click.
Exactly, those check boxes, not the ones that are already checked.
Right. You got to actually click it.
You got to actually click it.
Okay.
And then transparency
Mhm.
is huge.
Okay.
You need clear data usage policies.
So people know.
Yeah, they need to know exactly what you're collecting, why,
Right.
and how you're going to use it.
Gosh.
No hidden agendas. Makes sense.
Yes.
What else?
That's right. Data rights, meaning.
So this means you got to give people the ability
Yeah.
to see the data you have on them
Okay.
and to ask for it to be deleted.
Right. They have the right to be forgotten.
Exactly, the right to be forgotten.
Okay.
The guide even suggests having
Yeah.
a user control portal.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, especially for bigger organizations.
Right. Makes it easy to manage.
Yeah, super easy.
Okay. So consent, transparency, data rights. What else?
Security.
Right. With all this data.
Yeah, you got to keep it safe.
You can't be messing around.
Exactly. The guide talks about strong data protection measures
Right.
and encryption.
Encryption being.
So encryption basically scrambles the data.
Okay.
So only authorized people can read it.
So it's protected from hackers.
Exactly.
Okay. So that's the legal side.
Yeah, we covered the basics there.
Basics.
But I mean, it's important to,
Yeah.
dive deeper into the specifics.
Yeah, for sure. For your specific situation.
Exactly. Consult with a lawyer, all that.
Oh, always good advice. Okay. So how about the technical stuff?
Technical stuff, yeah.
So how do we actually collect these emails ethically?
So the guide has this Python example,
Okay.
which might seem a little techie.
Yeah. I'm not a coder.
But it illustrates some really key principles.
Okay, let's break it down.
Okay, so the example starts with this thing called the ethical email scraper class.
Okay.
And it starts with headers.
Headers.
And one of the headers is this thing called the user agent string.
Okay.
And it's basically saying, hey, I'm an ethical email bot.
Oh, so it's like identifying itself?
Yeah, exactly. It's being transparent.
Gotcha.
And it also provides an email address.
Okay.
So the website owner can contact you.
So it's like
Yeah.
if they have an issue.
Right, exactly.
Okay, cool.
And then there's this rate limit thing.
Rate limit.
Which is set to 1 second.
Okay, 1 second meaning.
So this is showing respect for the website's server.
Okay.
You're not hitting it with like
Right.
a ton of requests all at once.
Don't want to overload it.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then there's a logger,
A logger.
which basically keeps a record
That's okay.
of what the scraper is doing.
So for accountability.
Exactly.
Okay. So headers, rate limit, logger.
And then we get to this function called checkRobots.txt.
Robots.txt.
Yeah, so this is a big one.
Okay, why is it so important?
So think of robots.txt as like a website's do not enter sign
Oh.
for automated tools.
Okay.
It tells them which parts of the site they can access
Okay.
and which parts are off limits.
So this function is basically,
Yeah, it's checking if it's allowed in.
right, like knocking on the door
Exactly.
before barging in.
Exactly.
Okay, so then how does it actually find the emails?
So that happens in this other function called extract emails.
Okay.
And it starts by checking that robots.txt file.
Right. Got to make sure
Got to make sure.
you're allowed in.
Yep. And then it uses something called a regular expression.
A regular what?
A regular expression. It's basically
Yeah.
a way to search for patterns in text. So in this case, it's looking for patterns that look like email addresses.
Gotcha.
So it finds those emails and then it logs them.
Okay, why log them?
So logging is important for a few reasons.
Okay.
One, for compliance.
Right. Got to keep records.
Exactly. You need to be able to show
Yeah.
where you got the data from.
Makes sense.
And then it also removes any duplicates.
Oh, good idea.
Yeah, you don't want to be emailing the same person twice.
Right.
And finally, it has some basic error handling.
Error handling meaning.
So that's just making sure that if something unexpected happens,
Yeah.
the scraper doesn't just crash.
Right. Got to be robust.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's like a basic overview
Yeah,
of how the technical stuff works.
the nuts and bolts.
Yeah. Are there any other technical tips from the guide?
Yeah, so beyond the basics,
Yeah.
the guide recommends setting a delay between requests.
Okay, so like a pause.
Yeah, it's like a pause,
Okay.
1 to 3 seconds between each request.
Okay. Why is that important?
Again, it's about being respectful. You're not hammering the website server.
Right. Pacing yourself.
Exactly, pacing
Yeah.
yourself.
Okay, what else?
IP rotation.
IP what?
IP rotation.
Okay, so that's where,
So that's where your requests
yeah.
look like they're coming from different IP addresses.
Oh, so it's like you're
Right.
in different locations.
Exactly.
Okay, that's sneaky.
Yeah, it's a little bit sneaky,
But ethical.
but ethical.
Okay.
As long as you're doing it for the right reasons.
Right.
And then, of course, robots.txt compliance.
Yeah. Right, which we talked about.
Yeah, that's like the golden rule.
Gotta follow the rules.
Got to follow the rules.
Okay. Anything else?
There's monitoring server response codes.
Okay, what's that all about?
So basically, you want to make sure
Yeah.
the website's not blocking you.
Oh, so if you're getting errors?
Exactly. If you're getting errors.
Yeah, it's a bad sign.
Yeah, it means you need to back off.
Okay.
And then good error handling.
Right. Making
Huh.
sure that the scraper
Yeah, it can handle
can handle any of that.
exactly unexpected problems.
Okay, so legal, technical, what else is there?
So now we got to talk about email verification.
Okay, so what's that all about?
This is huge.
Yep.
Email verification basically means
Yeah.
making sure the email addresses you collect are real
Oh, okay.
and active.
So you're not sending emails.
Exactly. You don't
Yeah.
want to send emails.
Does that bounce back?
Yeah, it bounced back.
Okay, makes sense.
The guide says it can reduce bounce rates by like 97%.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
So it's like you're not wasting your time.
You're not wasting your time, your resources,
Yeah.
and you're not hurting your reputation.
Right, because if you're sending out a bunch of emails
Yeah.
to fake addresses,
Yeah, it looks bad.
it looks bad.
And then people start marking you as spam.
Right, so email verification.
Yeah.
Super important.
That's super important.
Okay, so what was the last thing from the guide?
Documentation.
Documentation, like
Yeah.
keeping records
Exactly, keeping records.
of what you're doing.
Yeah, of all your data collection processes.
Yeah. Okay, why is that so important?
So this is all about compliance.
Right.
If anyone ever asks
Yeah.
where you got your data,
Yeah,
you got to be able to show them.
makes sense.
Good documentation is key.
Okay, so to recap for our listener,
Yeah.
ethical email scraping in 2025 is a balancing act.
It is.
You got to balance automation with respect for the law and people's privacy.
Exactly.
Consent is huge.
Huge.
You got to be transparent.
Yeah. Upfront about everything.
And then on the technical side,
yeah.
you got to be respectful.
Respectful of the websites you're scraping.
Right.
Don't overload their servers. Follow the rules.
Rate limiting robots.txt, all of that.
Not that.
And then make sure you're verifying those emails.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's all for nothing.
Right.
You're just wasting your time.
Exactly. And don't forget to document everything.
Yeah. Cover your bases.
So that's basically it in a nutshell.
Yeah. We covered a lot.
But it makes you think, right?
Yeah. That's
like as things change, technology laws.
Yeah. It's all constantly evolving.
What's going to happen to ethical email scraping?
Yeah. Like what's ethical going to look like in 5 years, 10 years?
Right. Are we going to have to change everything?
Maybe.
It's kind of scary.
Yeah. It's a little bit scary.
But it's also exciting.
It is exciting.
It's like the future of data privacy.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
And we're all part of it.
We are.
So that's something to think about.
Yeah. Definitely something to think about.
For all of us.
For all of us.
Okay. Well, that was fun.
Yeah. That was a good one.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.
See you later.